They're going to start heavily considering cutting down rates because these growth figures are not becoming of the Nigerian economy.
All right, Amaka, thank you so much for coming on the program this morning. Of course, sharing more perspectives on those numbers. So we're still talking about commodities, and I'll just hand over now to Bosun, who is taking us, of course, through another aspect of the commodities market. Bosun.
Yes, it's thank you, Harriet. It's the cassava conversation we'll be having here in Abuja. Of course, cassava is common knowledge here in Nigeria. Some of us drank gari, which is a derivative of cassava. We still drink it today. Exactly. We still eat, make it as eba. We call it locally here in Nigeria. The ebaibo, whether you call it, or the gari for whatever it is, Harriet, it's very, very sweet, but the man who is sitting here with me who wants to discuss how we can use cassava, not just for humans, but for livestock feed, and that's why they're here in Abuja to talk about that with the institution based in Ilorin, the Agriculture and Rural Management Training Institute. That's what the acting executive director, Dr. Olufemi Oladuni, is talking to us about this morning. Good morning. Thanks for coming.
Good morning.
We appreciate that. Cassava is not breaking news in Nigeria, so we understand that. Yes. But let's talk to us about why do you think this should become livestock feeds? What are you folks doing in Ilorin, in the laboratories, scientifically speaking, that you think perhaps we can save money from importing livestock feeds using cassava locally?
Thank you, the presenter and the audience. You see, cassava as a crop has a lot of potentials. We are just looking at it from the perspective of human consumption now in Nigeria. But when you look at it, it goes beyond just human consumption. It is also you can use it as livestock feed, especially the leaves. The leaves as a component has a lot of protein that can actually improve the yield of our cattle in terms of dairy production. It can increase the yield. And you see, these cassava leaves has always been wasted up to now. Nobody is making use of the cassava leaves. We just harvest the roots. We focus more on the roots because the other time you were talking about drinking gari, doing all those things. But cassava as a crop goes beyond just eating gari or taking
the tubers.
That is just the tubers. But now we are talking of the leaves, which is being wasted. And we discovered that with enormous cassava leaves and with the high protein content in the leaves, it can serve as feed for our ruminants, both large and small ruminants. I mean the cattle, sheep, and goat. So through the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, he discovered this, and also that it could be used to stem the tide of these herdsmen and crop farmers clashes. If this can also be turned into feed, which they are always being used for in some other countries that actually cultivate cassava.
And so coming together in Abuja now in the next 1 or 2 days with the Ministry of Agriculture, what are the new things you'll be talking about? What are the new areas you're bringing to the table to help both the government and those of you who are in the area of research and the private sector, the stakeholders coming together?
Yes, we are putting all the stakeholders together to let us realize, first, awareness focus on cassava leaves. That our cassava leaves should not be wasted. We could use it to enhance the economy. It could generate new employment opportunities for our youths. It could be used to stem the crisis between the herdsmen and farmers. Because when they now have the cassava leaves well packaged, whether in A form or in a silage form, it could be fed into the animals, the large and small ruminant animals.
Yes. So in other words, if I have a farm and you can see images of a woman on the farm who is doing that. So the cassava leaves, fresh is good. Yes. And you can have it. Is there any other? Can it be processed into other form of feed?
Yes, yes, yeah, that's what we are bringing to the table now. It can be processed into livestock feed. You know, if we talk about livestock feed now in Nigeria, we are only talking about poultry feed mainly.
Or fish.
Or fish, yes, that is what we are talking of. But now we are bringing to table awareness and the usage of cassava leaves as a livestock feed for feed millers to be able to compound as feed source for ruminant animals, and also for our livestock farmers to know that there are other components of cassava that can be used to feed the animals in terms of the leaves.
One very quick thing, we wouldn't want you to leave the studios today without saying what you were doing at AMTI. This was an agency set up many years ago. Yes. I'm sure many Nigerians would have forgotten that your organization even existed, the Agricultural and Rural Management Agency. What are you doing? What are you achieving in Kwara State?
No, actually, AMTI was established for the agric and rural development sector of the economy in 1981, based on an act of parliament. And the one thing that is noteworthy is that AMTI is the only sector-specific training institution, management development institute, sub-Saharan Africa, in the area of capacity building, in the area of ARD, agric and rural development sector. So we have, over the years,